everyone. This is David Stark from WatchOrPass.com, your website for movie reviews, interviews, and recommendations. Today, I'm joined by Amiah Miller, who plays Joe in The Waterman, which released in theaters on May 7th, 2021. We're going to talk to her in just a second, but first, let's check out the trailer. And while you're watching, if you could like and subscribe to this channel, that would be fantastic. It helps me out a lot. Thank you. Hey, Amiah.
Hi.
Hey, how are you?
I'm so good. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks so much for joining me. This is Amiah Miller. She plays Joe in The Waterman, which is in theaters. Released last month, and it's probably still in theaters. And now that everything's opened up, you can check it out or rent it when it comes there. But thank you so much for joining me.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm excited to speak with you.
Yeah. So I guess the first question is: so this film is the follow-up to the 1998 Adam Sandler classic, The Waterboy. So what was it like making a film, a sequel to a film that came out before you were even born?
I don't it was great. I mean, I love that film, but I think they're both so different that yeah, I don't know. I mean, The Waterboy, I love Adam Sandler and all of his movies. So yeah, I mean, it was a great experience.
You are very, very seasoned, because when I talked to Lonnie, he was like, what was that actually a sequel? So I think really good, really good answer.
Thank you. No, I love movies and watching. I mean, especially I feel like when that came out, that was such a good time for movies.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
Yeah.
But now it seems like everything's opening up, and now's a good time as well. So I guess how did you find this film? I mean, this is kind of a I loved it because it feels like it's kind of a kid-focused movie, but it doesn't feel like it's like patronizing, right? Like you have a lot of kids films that kind of feel like they're talking down, but in this one, it takes serious topics on, but it kind of lets kids relate to them. So kind of how did you find this film?
I mean, I think watching this film, it's a family film that everyone can relate to. There's a character that's going through something that, a member of the audience has also gone through. Just like me personally, I relate the most to Gunnar, whereas, I have friends that would relate the most to Joe. And I think all of the characters have to overcome something in this movie, which I think is so beautiful. And that's my favorite thing about it.
I'm guessing you relate to Gunnar. Oh, I don't know. I'm maybe because you're artistic. I don't want to go into any like a family trouble, but you probably, is it because you're an artistic soul and you kind of have this kind of need to express your art? That's kind of what Gunnar's about.
Yeah, and also, I mean, I think we're all guilty of it, but taking the ones we love for granted is something that we've all done. And this film really opened my eyes to just kind of live in the moment and to just love people and love the people around me. And yeah, I love this film. I would love this film even if I weren't in it, but the fact that I'm in it, I'm like, okay, it's one of my favorites.
Yeah, it's good when the work that you do is also your favorite. I think that's a testament to the film itself. This was also the directorial debut of David Oyelowo. So what was it like kind of working with him, someone who's making that jump into the director spot, but he's also starring with you, so he's kind of wearing two hats throughout this. What was that process like?
Well, I always like to do movies and surround myself with actors that are better than me because, I want to grow and evolve and become better with everything that I do. So being around him, acting wise and getting to watch him so closely, that was such a blessing and I learned so much. And I also want to eventually direct. So to be a part of his directorial debut and to kind of get a taste of what that might be like for me in the future, that was also incredible. And he's also just such a lovely person and he's so genuinely nice, which is, I feel like it's rare these days, especially in this industry. So yeah, I have nothing but deep respect for him.
That's such a great experience too, relatively early in your career. I mean, you have a great resume, but you still have plenty of years left. So it's really wonderful that you were able to kind of see what it would be like to transition into a directorial spot sometime, and maybe you can start planning your career similarly. That's such a fantastic opportunity.
Yeah, I have this whole plan in my head. We'll see how it goes though.
That's fantastic. Hopefully the world doesn't throw more wrenches, because I think everyone had lots of plans, and then the world.
Yeah, I can't take any more of this.
Exactly. So you spent a lot of screen time with Lonnie, and I know this was years ago. What was it like? How did you kind of establish your rapport? You guys have a fun chemistry on screen. It's kind of like friends, but then also, you are leading him and kind of teaching him things. So how did you kind of establish that? Did you get some time before the film, or did you just kind of hit it off naturally because you both just, loved the role and loved this film?
Well, we met in the chemistry read for this film, and then we had some rehearsals and pre-production, and we were also doing school together
Oh,
during
nice.
like 2 weeks for pre-production, and I think we really got to know each other well in that period of time. But he's incredible. He's like a little brother to me. We were just talking last night. He's like, "What'd you do today?"
That's
I'm
awesome.
like, I don't know. But yeah, he's so talented, and I can't wait to see where he'll go. And I know that he'll do amazing things. And yeah, I'm just so excited for him.
That's awesome because when I talked to Lonnie, he said that like this film became, the family in the set became like a family in real life. Like it was just you were all so
Mhm.
close, and so it sounds like that has continued on even after that. You're still kind of, talking to each other. Maybe not as family, but still like you're staying close, you're staying connected, which is that's such
Yeah.
a fantastic experience.
Yeah, and I think especially with this pandemic, what we had to rely on was our relationships and our love for one another, which is actually very similar to this movie and how love conquers all. So, you can conquer this sickness and, this terrible forest fire, and you can conquer a pandemic. So, love all around.
There you go. That's all you need is love. And so this film, I think it was filmed what, like 4 years ago, 3 years ago, something like that. What has it been like kind of
Oh,
watching this movie now after you yourself have grown so much since this
yeah.
movie was filmed? What is that experience like? Do you kind of see it differently, or is it you just remember all the good things from filming that long ago?
Yeah, well, this is the film that I did right before the pandemic hit.
Okay.
So, but yeah, I mean, looking back, it feels like forever ago, like a lifetime ago. That's such a different Amiah that did this film. But I mean, watching it, so many memories came back, and just the relationships that I've formed from this, David and Lonnie and Rosario. I'm just so fortunate to have been a part of it.
And I noticed that your hair is blonde, and in the film your hair is blue. So, what was it like dyeing your hair? I'm not sure. Have you done that before? Was that kind of a first experience to kind of let your hair down and change the color?
Oh, well, it was actually a wig.
Oh, all
Yeah,
right.
but I'm glad that you couldn't tell, because I mean that's the goal.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wasn't sure what they were planning to do with my hair, and I showed up and David was telling me all about this wig, and I was like, cool. And I loved the blue. I did a temporary dye once I left of a similar shade of blue because I missed it.
Mhm.
So yeah, and I think when you're wearing a wig, it helps you get more into character. So
Yeah, then
yeah,
you can
I
have
love it.
like, your character when you're in your kind of ensemble, and then you can take it off and you can go back to being, a Maya.
Exactly.
Awesome. And one thing I really liked about this film is it's this kind of local legend that the kids and the adults kind of know about. And I'm not sure where you grew up, but did you have anything like that when where you were growing up? Was there some sort of like local legend or local creature that people kind of whispered about?
Um, Only the ones in my head. I mean, I when I was growing up, I moved around a lot, and I did different films and TV shows, always traveling and kind of living a nomadic lifestyle since I was 10. So, no mythical creatures or anything like that going around the town, except for the ones up here.
Well, that's a good place. Maybe,
The
maybe you
little
were maybe you were the legend. Like, I remember Amaya, she
Maybe
was here, but
I'm
then
the
she just
waterman.
disappeared.
Yeah.
You say her name 5 times, she appears in the window.
I know, right? Oh, how scary.
And one thing I also loved is, Gunnar has this like sword. I don't know what you have, but do you also have some sort of like sword or family heirloom? I guess sword would be one option, but like some sort of family heirloom that you carry around for comfort. You travel a lot, so I wonder if maybe you have something that you kind of keep with you during that.
Well, I mean, you could classify me as a hoarder. I keep everything. Every birthday card I've ever gotten, I still have. All of the wrap gifts I got from this film, I still have. I take them with me everywhere. But yeah, there's a few family things going around. I have a ring from my grandmother that
Oh,
I always
nice.
wear. and that it kind of goes with me everywhere, and I think it has such good energy to it and luck, so I wear it all the time.
That's fantastic. And yeah, someone that kind of moves around as much as you do, you kind of need something to ground you and kind of keep with you so you have your own permanent place. So
Exactly. Maybe I'll get a sword and pass it down.
that might be tough to take with you unless you're driving everywhere, but yeah, might as well. And so I love this question that's in the film. It's one of the later lines in the movie. So I'm just want to hear your answer. So if you had to choose between a short life with a lot of love or a very long life with no one left to love, which one would you choose?
I would definitely choose a short life with a lot of love. I think love is kind of the driving force as humans. That's what keeps us going. And, when we're the happiest, we have love. And then when we're the saddest, love is what picks us up. And whether that be love of other people, love of animals, self-love, as long as you have some sort of love, I think that overpowers anything.
That's a fantastic answer, and that's the perfect perspective. So the film is out, and I imagine you're working on other projects. I know you are, because we had to postpone the press day because you had something else. So what else is coming out for you? What can people look for you after they see you in The Waterman?
Well, I just wrapped on a film called My Best Friend's Exorcism. I know the title is very intense.
Is that like a horror comedy or?
Yeah, well, it has comedic moments, but it's definitely a little scary. But yeah, I mean, that was such a fun thing to film, and we just wrapped, and I can't wait for people to see it. It's gonna be so good.
There you go. So you can check out Amiah in The Waterman, and then coming up in My Best Friend's Exorcism. So thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
That was Amiah Miller talking about The Waterman, which released in theaters last month. It's David Oyelowo's directorial debut, and he also stars in the film, as does Amiah. If you like this interview, please like and subscribe to this channel. It helps me out a lot and make sure all my new interviews go straight to you. And as always, please go to watcherpass.com for all your movie reviews, interviews, and recommendations. Thank you.